Welcome to Unit Standard 244484 Training Information 4. This will be the last video about this unit standard. So we are going to continue looking at different theories, and we are starting today with the language domain. So we have two main theorists that have theories about language development, and those two people are Chomsky and Pinker. So they had two slightly different views on language development, but both of them are important. So we're going to talk about Chomsky first. So Chomsky said that language is an innate ability. So that means it's something that you are born with and that you inherit from your parents. So it's a genetic thing. It's not something that only comes from outside when you learn it from other people. It is an ability that you are born with. He said that language development comes from inside, but vocabulary, so if we talk about vocabulary, so those are the different words that we know. If you have a big vocabulary, then you know a lot of different words. But if you don't have a big vocabulary, you always use the same words because you don't know a lot of different words. Vocabulary, knowing a lot of different words, comes from social context. So that would come from interacting with other people and the different words that you use in your social settings around you. So he also said that innate language begins to work. So that ability that you have inside you, it begins to work when it's stimulated by the outside environment. Once you are being stimulated to develop language, then that innate ability kicks in and language development takes place. Chomsky felt that language is an innate ability. It's something that is already inside you, that you are you inherit it from your parents, or it's a genetic thing that's inside you already. And the second theorist that talked about language development is Pinker. So Pinker said that our brains is like Stanley knives. So Stanley knives are those knives with lots of different things that you can use in the one knife. So it will have like small scissors, and it will have this and that. So it's different things for different purposes, and he felt that our brains work the same way. So he said our brains have different thinking tools for when we need to do different things. This means that he felt that there's a specific part of our brain that works with language development. He also said that he felt that culture and the environment that you are in and provides content of language. So he felt that development of language has a lot to do with outside, so the environment you're in and the language that you hear around you. And so it's much more about having outside stimuli. And he also said that language begins once the baby wants to communicate with the mother. So without a baby wanting to communicate with the mother, so it's something from outside because the mother is in the environment, that means that helps a child to develop language once they want to communicate, and the language that they hear around them. Where Chomsky felt that it's more an innate ability that's just being stimulated by the outside, Pinker felt that language has a lot to do with the environment and the people around you. And that language development begins once you want to communicate with other people. When we look at language development as a whole, both of these ideas, Chomsky and Pinker, seems to apply, because language must be an innate and genetic ability, and that the brain is programmed to develop language, but without the outside environment and people from outside actually talking to you and you hearing language as a baby and a child, you won't learn that language. So both of those things are important when we look at language development. When we look at learning an additional language, which is actually a really important thing, especially in South Africa, because we have so many diverse children coming to our centers, children with different languages. So it happens often that we have multiple languages in our center, and children whose home language is different than the language at the center, which makes it a lot more difficult to cater for all the needs of all the children. In an ideal world, learning an additional language would be done after a primary language is established well. So after a child has a good primary home language. If I'm an Afrikaans child, when my Afrikaans is really good and I can understand and speak Afrikaans, then only it would be good to learn a second language, because I have an idea of the first language, and then I can build onto that with another language. But a lot of our children are growing up with learning several languages at once. We see in our centers that they do learn quickly, and sometimes they mix their languages, which can confuse them a little bit, but yeah, it's something really important to consider when we work with our children, and to make sure that those children that have a different home language than the one that we are teaching in, that we make sure that they understand and that they really have a chance to also express themselves in their own language, because they need to communicate in their home language as well. The very last theorist we are going to discuss is Kohlberg, and he also had a theory about moral development. Previously, we have spoken about Piaget's moral development theory, where he had only two stages: the objective morality and the subjective morality. So just to recap that, the objective morality was just seeing things in black and white. So something is either right or wrong, and not considering anything around it. And the second stage was where a child would be able to think about different situations and take different things into consideration to decide whether something was right or wrong. So Kohlberg looked at Piaget's theory, and he expanded on it. So he not only has two stages, Piaget, but Kohlberg developed a theory with 6 different stages. There's 3 different levels, and each level has 2 stages. So if you look at the levels, we are talking about pre-conventional, conventional, and then post-conventional. So in the pre-conventional stage, that is very much like Piaget's first level, where it's very black and white. And in this pre-conventional level, where there's 2 stages, stage 1 and 2, children make decisions about what is right or wrong based on punishment or getting rewarded. So they would decide something is right or wrong, whether they get punished or whether they get rewarded. So it's either, yes, I did good, I am getting rewarded, or no, I'm getting punished for this, so it must be wrong. As the child grows older, and we move on to the second level, which is the conventional level. So the conventional level of Kohlberg's moral theory, I would still put into Piaget's first stage, where it's still black and white, and there's not really very abstract thoughts yet. In this level, with also 2 stages, the decision whether something is right or wrong is very much based on what other people expect of me, and what would be right or wrong for the group. Or if I do something and the people around me disagrees and thinks that I've done something wrong, then that means I am doing something wrong. So they base their decisions a lot on expectations of other people, and whether the things that they do are being accepted or not. The third level of Kohlberg's moral theory, where there's also 2 stages, so stage 5 and 6, We are moving to where Piaget's second level was. So we start to have abstract thoughts and beginning to think about different reasons for things. Why is something right? Why is something wrong? And this is where you are able to make your own decisions about what you think is right and what you think is wrong. Whether everyone in the group is doing the same thing and you still think it's wrong, then you would keep your opinion about, yes, it's wrong. So other people don't have such a big influence on your decisions about what is being right and wrong anymore. You rather use your own morals and your own complex thinking to decide whether something is right or wrong, rather than just focusing on what am I being rewarded for and what are other people accept. Please go and read page 37 to 44 in your module guide, as there is also some important information about theories in general and just some extra information. Please let me know if there's something that you don't understand or some words that you are unsure of. I would be more than happy to explain it to you.